In the middle of the night, I received a text message from the real estate saleswoman. Miss Lee, can you give me your boyfriend's contact information? My period hasn't come this month, and I'm a little scared. I glanced at the message, then looked at my boyfriend sleeping beside me like a log. I replied, "She's already pregnant and you still didn't get her contact information. You really are useless." As I said that, I kicked my boyfriend off the bed. Chapter 1. I woke up thirsty in the middle of the night and got up to drink some water, only to notice a message notification. Picking up my phone, I wondered who would be messaging me so late, only to see that it was from Ellie, the real estate saleswoman I had been in frequent contact with recently. Miss Lee, can you give me your boyfriend's contact information? My period hasn't come this month, and I'm a little scared. For a moment, I couldn't process what it meant. I rubbed my eyes before realizing it was my boyfriend's side chick provoking me. I glanced at Aiden, who was sleeping beside me like a log, and in my mind I was already tearing him to shreds. I replied, "She's already pregnant and you still didn't get her contact information. You really are useless." As I said that, I kicked my boyfriend off the bed. Jolted awake from his sleep, Aiden scrambled up from the floor, nervous. What happened? Was that an earthquake? Baby, let's run. I only sneered at him. What's wrong, baby? Seeing my expression, Aiden realized it wasn't an earthquake but that I was furious. He sighed and climbed back into bed. What's wrong? Did you have a nightmare? In the dream, did I do something unforgivable again? He reached out to hug me, but I shoved him away coldly. Don't come near me, stay there. I have something to ask you. Not knowing what had happened, Aiden just sat in the corner, looking pitiful and not daring to speak. He looked so wronged and miserable, but this man who would act pitiful in front of me for comfort was the same man who had betrayed me with another woman. Honestly, until today, I had never imagined it. Taking a deep breath, I prepared to ask him how he had gotten involved with Ellie. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was another message from Ellie. Miss Lee, I know you can't accept the fact that your boyfriend betrayed you, so you chose to insult me like this. But I still advise you to face reality. Anger expressed through words is useless. A man you can't hold on to is still a man you can't hold on to. And I never intended anything. I just wanted to let the child's father know he exists. Are you so afraid of the father knowing about his child because you realize you don't actually have any advantage over me? In my 20-something years of life, I had never met someone so shameless. For a moment, I was so angry I couldn't even speak. I simply tossed the phone at Aiden and said, "The mother of your child is looking for you. You've already gotten her pregnant but didn't even think to give her your contact info. She had to come to me to deliver the message." Aiden had thought I was just mad from a dream when I lashed out at him earlier. Now, with the phone suddenly thrown at him and me mentioning the mother of your child, he froze in shock. He gave an awkward laugh. "Emma, what are you talking about?" he asked as he picked up my phone to check the messages. The moment he read the message, Aiden's eyes widened, and he shouted, "This is slander. This is defamation. Who is this woman? I'm going to sue her. Isn't it possible that her missed period is just because of hormonal issues or some illness? How does that automatically mean she's pregnant? No, wait, even if she is pregnant, what does that have to do with me? I don't even know this person." Then Aiden looked up at me, acting all pitiful. "Emma, do you have another boyfriend?" At first, hearing this, my immediate reaction was that this bastard was trying to shift the blame onto me after doing something wrong himself. But then I thought again. These past 2 months, Aiden had been on a business trip with my dad and had only just returned yesterday. He really couldn't know Ellie. Then why did Ellie claim she was carrying my boyfriend's child? Seeing my silence, Aiden grew even more dramatic, as if ready to cry, make a scene, or threaten to hang himself. "You really do have another guy out there, don't you? You heartless woman. I'm going to tell your parents we're about to get married, and you're with another man." As he spoke, he actually pulled out his phone and started looking up my mom's number. Quick as lightning, I grabbed his hand. "Don't you dare call. Are you crazy? No, you've been cheating on me, and I'm the one who's hurt here. I have to tell your parents." He shook off my hand but didn't dial, only stared at me with wide, pitiful eyes. I let out a long sigh. Something about this doesn't add up. I picked up my phone and told Aiden about Ellie, because we were preparing to buy a new house for our wedding. I had been visiting sales offices of different developments in the city these past 2 months. Ellie was the real estate agent who had helped me the most. We'd always gotten along well, but recently, whenever I scheduled a viewing, she would say she had other plans and hand me off to another salesperson instead. Then suddenly, tonight, she sent that shocking message. In the middle of the night. I hadn't thought it through, I just assumed she meant Aiden. Thinking about it now, I quickly texted Ellie back. Are you sure you didn't make a mistake? Do you even know who I am? Do you know who my boyfriend is? Her reply came fast. Emma Lee. Miss Lee, you're not hoping I've confused the person, are you? Of course I know who your boyfriend is. If you don't believe me, I'll show you our photo together. That certain someone said with his own mouth that I'm way more fun than you. Right after, she sent a photo. In the picture, Ellie was pressed close against a handsome man, his bright smile showing as he held her tightly in his arms. But the man wasn't Aiden. It was someone we both knew, Aiden's cousin, Sean. That was when I remembered. At the beginning, during a few house viewings, since Aiden was away on his trip, he had asked his cousin Sean to accompany me, but I had been picky about the new house. Sean grew impatient after just 2 times and even complained in front of the sales staff, saying I was too demanding, that picking a place with me was a nightmare, and that I was wasting the staff's time. I didn't lash out then for Aiden's sake, but I did tell him about it afterward. Since then, Aiden never asked his cousin to go with me again. I never expected that in those 2 times, Sean would end up hooking up with Ellie. After sending the picture, Ellie retracted it within 2 minutes. I didn't even have time to take a screenshot. See? I told you it wasn't me. Aiden sounded almost relieved after recognizing the man in the photo. I rolled my eyes hard. Right. Not you. But it looks like she's about to become your cousin's wife. Aiden frowned at that. What do you mean cousin's wife? My cousin already has a wife. Chapter 2. Yes. Sean got married a year ago. He already has a wife, and yet he still ended up messing around with Ellie. I couldn't help but feel disgusted. Just as I was about to call Sean and curse him out, Aiden stopped me. What? You plan to help your cousin cover this up? I glared at Aiden with a sharp look. Aiden shook his head and said, of course not. It's just that if you call him now, he probably won't admit it. He might even turn it around and accuse you of sowing discord between us brothers. Hearing this, I realized he was quite clear-headed about what kind of person his relative really was. Then what do you suggest? Just pretend we don't know? I asked in frustration. Who would have thought Aiden would flash a mischievous smile? How could we? The mistress openly provoked you. It's perfectly normal for the fiancé to make a scene. My eyes lit up at his words. Exactly, Ellie sending me these messages to provoke me in the middle of the night. Wouldn't it be normal for me to get angry? I ignored Ellie's continuous provocative messages, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. The next morning, Aiden left early for work. I only got out of bed after sleeping in, cleaned myself up, and then drove straight to the sales office where Ellie worked. As soon as I walked in, Ellie spotted me. Seeing me storming in with anger, she revealed a smug smile. Other sales staff, noticing my aggressive demeanor, came up and asked if something had happened. I pointed at Ellie, who was standing not far away with that smug smile, and shouted loudly, I'm about to get married. But your employee Ellie seduced my fiancé and even got pregnant with his child. She's destroying my marriage and family. Doesn't your company care about that? My voice was so loud that many potential buyers inside the sales office turned their heads. Following the direction of my finger, they all looked at Ellie. I have to say, it takes an extremely thick skin to send provocative messages to the fiancé in the first place. Even under the strange gazes of everyone in the lobby, she didn't bat an eye, her smile didn't even waver. Ellie actually walked straight toward me with that same smile. Sweetheart, if your fiancé did something wrong, shouldn't you deal with him? Why come make trouble for me? You can't possibly think a man's cheating is always the mistress's fault, right? For someone who's also a woman, haven't you thought that the real problem might actually be your fiancé? Her smile grew brighter as she got closer and closer. Her shamelessness almost made me doubt myself. But luckily, I'm not an idiot who would be tricked into shifting my anger with just a few words. Still, it was obvious that some onlookers were being swayed. A young woman muttered softly, true. Every time a man cheats, the fiancé always goes after the mistress, while the jerk gets off scot-free. Instead of keeping her man in check, she comes to bother another woman. What's the point? Hearing that, Ellie's co-workers immediately seemed more confident. Some even chuckled as they tried to persuade me, "Miss, if your fiancé really wronged you, we suggest you go deal with him. All of us are women. Why make things harder for other women?" In the end, it's still just being a pick-me. More and more people tried to persuade me, and my face grew darker. Chapter 3. I had never imagined that, as the victim, I would be labeled as a pick-me. Seeing more and more people agreeing with her, Ellie looked even more smug. She touched her belly and gave me a provocative smile. "Sweetheart, I'm the one helping you see that your fiancé is a jerk. Instead of thanking me, you come here to make trouble for me. How ungrateful can you be?" I could clearly feel that she was deliberately provoking me, hoping I would lose control and overreact. It was obvious that Ellie was good at manipulating the narrative and shifting the focus. Watching her increasingly triumphant expression, I couldn't hold back anymore and slapped her across the face. A mistress is still a mistress. Acting like a homewrecker but trying to put on a halo as if you're doing a good deed. Who taught you that? After I hit her, I could see the triumph in her eyes, even though her expression was one of pain and grievance. Covering her cheek, she choked out, "This world is just too harsh on women. Obviously, both of us are at fault, and yet you only come after me." Her words immediately painted her as the perfect victim, and both clients and staff rushed to shield her. I frowned slightly, suddenly realizing this woman had been provoking me all along, pushing me to fight with my fiancé. So her goal was to make me argue with the man, while she profited from the chaos? It's true that two people are at fault, but how do you know I haven't confronted my fiancé? The thing is, he refuses to admit you even exist, and yet you keep sending me messages in the middle of the night to provoke me, so why shouldn't I come after you? I said, my eyes reddening as I deliberately put on a pitiful expression. I grabbed the arm of a nearby girl and showed her the provocative messages Ellie had sent me the night before. "Look, isn't she obviously trying to provoke me on purpose? My fiancé wasn't even at home. I called him, but he denied everything, so the only option left was to confront this woman face to face. If this really is true, then of course I'll call off the engagement," I added with a choked voice. The girl's face instantly twisted in disgust as she glanced at Ellie after reading the messages on my phone. "You do something wrong. Instead of stopping, you go and provoke the fiancé? That's just vile." Then she loudly read one of Ellie's messages. "Miss Lee, can you give me your boyfriend's number? My period didn't come this month, and I'm a little scared." This pretentious coquette talk, if it were me, I wouldn't be able to put up with it either. The girl read several more of the messages, and the crowd, who had come for the spectacle, began to distance themselves from Ellie. Even those who had been siding with her looked embarrassed and stepped away. Ellie hadn't expected me to suddenly play the weak card. Her face faltered for a moment before she put on her pitiful act again. "I'm only doing this for the sake of my child. Besides, I'm helping you see your fiancé's true colors. Isn't that better than marrying him and finding out too late that he's a jerk?" She actually had the nerve to act like she was doing me a favor. I almost laughed from anger. "Stop saying you're doing me a favor. I'm your client. If you really cared about me, you wouldn't have slept with my fiancé. And now he claims you're slandering him, refusing to acknowledge your existence at all. Why don't you explain that?" Ellie looked at me in surprise. "Didn't you see the photo I sent?" "I didn't see clearly. You deleted it. Didn't you? If you really did sleep with my fiancé, show me evidence. After all, you didn't even add his contact information." I sneered. Chapter 4. Hearing my words, Ellie seemed to have her competitiveness stirred. She pulled out her phone and said, when I said no contact information, I only meant no phone number. We already added each other on WeChat a long time ago. As she spoke, Ellie opened up a WeChat chat box. The contact name was marked as Aiden, and the profile picture was indeed Aiden's WeChat avatar. I narrowed my eyes, trying to get a clearer look, but Ellie had already pulled her phone back and then initiated a WeChat call. Seeing that, I quickly took out my own phone, wanting to call Aiden myself. Could it really be that Aiden had deceived me? But the very next second, Ellie's WeChat call connected. The voice that came from the other side told me right away, it was Sean. "Honey, your fiancé came storming into my company. What should I do? I'm so scared. Ellie's tone was pitiful, but her eyes were full of provocation. Immediately after, Sean's voice came from Ellie's speakerphone with scorn in his voice. He said, "Scared of what? It's not like she can eat you alive. But she said you denied having anything to do with me. You're not planning to sleep with me and then throw me away, are you?" Ellie's voice grew sickeningly sweet, sending shivers down my spine. She didn't care at all about the disgusted looks around her. She just seemed excited, waiting to see my reaction. Hearing that, Sean laughed. Of course not. If Emma hadn't come along earlier, and if my family didn't approve of her, I'd have broken up with her long ago. If she wants to throw a tantrum, let her. Worst case, you can quit your job and I'll take care of you. Sean's voice wasn't quiet. Everyone present heard him. Ellie raised her brows at me triumphantly. Now everyone in the room looked at me with pity. The girl who had read Ellie's messages earlier saw my devastated expression and quickly stepped forward to support me, trying to comfort me. I put on a disbelieving look and tried to grab Ellie's phone. She stepped back and continued speaking sweetly into the call. "And what if your fiancé comes looking for you? Then let her come. I'm just afraid she doesn't dare. After all, being able to marry into our family is her blessing." That was the last straw. Even Aiden wouldn't dare say something like that. Where did Sean get the nerve to say marrying into his family was supposed to be my blessing? I was about to question him when Ellie, satisfied, hung up the call. With a mocking yet pitiful tone, she said to me, "Miss Lee, it seems you don't even have the courage to confront your own fiancé. Everything you just said was a lie. A woman needs to learn to love herself. If you only depend on men, one day they'll fail you. I was just teaching you a truth. Men can't be relied upon. Putting all the blame on me makes no sense. It's already 2025, don't you get it yet? When it comes to cheating, the mistress isn't the only one at fault. More responsibility lies with your fiancé. Obviously, you can't control your fiancé. Why not just see him for the jerk he is and leave him?" Her rhetoric actually swayed quite a few people again, and I even noticed someone recording a video. The person filming muttered, "Now this is what I call an independent heroine speech. Family, look at this saleswoman, so composed, so clear-minded." I nearly laughed from fury. Since when can a mistress rebrand herself as an independent heroine? Has your brain turned into garbage? Getting involved with someone who's already taken is immoral. Wrong is wrong, no matter the excuse. You can't just vanish from blame by saying it's mostly the man's fault. And stop acting like some savior who's rescuing me from misery. I don't need you to save me. Chapter 5. After saying that, I dialed the complaint hotline of the real estate company, since Aiden said he would have you quit your job and support you. I suppose you don't care about losing your job, right? Ellie really didn't care. She even lifted her hand as if to say I was free to complain. In front of everyone, I filed a complaint against Ellie, and then I called Aiden's parents, choking back sobs. I said into the phone, "Auntie, Aiden has found another woman outside. I won't be marrying him. Please find him another bride." With that, I hung up. Ellie actually looked very satisfied and even nodded approvingly. Now that's what a modern woman should be. "Miss Lee, next time, make sure you choose carefully when picking a man. And remember, in these situations, stop clinging on to other women. Isn't it obvious that the fault lies with the jerk?" She had the audacity to lecture me with a self-righteous tone, which made me so angry I wanted to slap her again. But the same young woman from before stopped me and whispered, "You already slapped her once. If you do it again, she might call the police." I took a deep breath and forcibly restrained myself. Facing Ellie, I said, "Stop pretending to be some independent heroine. If you were truly one, would you go after a man who already has someone? If you were truly one, would you need a man to support you? I'll be waiting to see if Aiden really supports you." Then I turned to the young woman who stopped me, thanked her, and walked away. The call I had just made to Aiden's mother quickly had results. Aiden called me not long after. "Baby, did you get wrong today? My mom was terrified when she heard you wanted to call off the wedding. She just called to scold me." At that moment, I was furious and needed to vent. So I told Aiden everything Ellie had done. "Looks like Sean really was using your name to mess around with Ellie. What is he trying to do? He even went so far as to belittle me like I'm worthless." Aiden scoffed on the other end. "The one who's truly worthless is him. That's why he has to tear others down to feel important." Thinking about the Sean I knew, He really was nothing more than a spoiled rich kid. Over the years, as their family business grew, Aiden's parents had tried to pull him along, giving him plenty of resources, but he always managed to screw things up. Lately, they had even stopped giving Sean projects or resources altogether, so I raised my brows and said to Aiden over the phone, "Baby, I want to make this a bigger deal." Hearing that, Aiden wasn't surprised. "Didn't you call my mom just now because you wanted to escalate it? Do whatever you want, as long as it makes you feel better. Go for it." With Aiden's approval, I felt no guilt at all as I posted screenshots of my chat with Ellie from last night, along with Sean's words from today's call, making it seem like Aiden had said them, into the group chat. Aiden did something like this, and I will never forgive him, since he thinks I was the one trying to climb up to his family. Then fine, I won't climb. This wedding is off. Chapter 6. The previously quiet family group chat suddenly became lively. Aiden's parents, sounding anxious, said, "Emma, is there some misunderstanding here? We just called Aiden, and he said he doesn't even know this woman." Other relatives also spoke up, saying that Aiden wasn't that kind of person, that there must be some mistake, and telling me not to act rashly. Seeing more and more people speaking, I finally replied, "Uncle, Auntie." At first I trusted Aiden too, but that saleswoman called Aiden right in front of me, and he personally said that I was only around earlier and happened to gain your approval. Since he likes that kind of shameless woman, it shows that we're not on the same path. Breaking up is the better choice. My words silenced the group for a moment. No one dared to speak. Aiden, probably wanting to see me put on a show, didn't appear right away. Instead, Sean jumped out. "Brother, this is your fault. You already have a fiancé. Why aren't you satisfied? That woman is a real estate saleswoman, right? Women like that will do anything to sell a house. If she could seduce you, she could seduce someone else too. This time you really messed up. It's such a pity about Emma. Such a good fiancé. You'd better apologize to her properly." Sean's words seemed to be speaking in my favor, but in fact every line was helping Aiden admit guilt while pushing me toward breaking up with him. Aiden saw Sean's comments and replied in the group, "I really don't know that woman. How could I ever betray Emma? Emma, I swear I'm being framed." Seeing Aiden's reply, I immediately wrote back, "She's pregnant with your child, and you still say you're being framed? That's fake. It's slander. I've never even met her. How could she possibly be pregnant with my child?" Aiden said righteously. I replied again, "Stop pretending. It's not like she could have gotten pregnant all by herself." No matter how Aiden tried to explain, I refused to believe him. His parents grew both anxious and helpless. They believed Aiden would never do such a thing, but with the evidence on my side and me looking furious, they had no way to persuade me. When it became clear that explanations weren't working, Aiden suddenly declared in the group, "If that woman really is pregnant with my child, then there are only two possibilities." That piqued my curiosity. I wondered what Aiden would say. The next second, Aiden wrote, "Either she obtained my sperm illegally, or she did something to me that I can't remember. I think I need to call the police." When I read that, I couldn't help bursting out laughing. This guy really dared to say anything. Sean, seeing Aiden's words, grew obviously nervous. "Brother, calling the police isn't appropriate. If something really gets investigated, it could affect the company." But Aiden's parents fully supported him. Hearing him say that convinced them even more that Aiden hadn't done anything wrong. So they chimed in on the group chat, "Yes, call the police." For a mere saleswoman to pull something like this, who knows what shady business might be behind her? Other relatives, seeing that, also felt reassured and all came out to support Aiden's decision to report to the police. Chapter 7. At first, Sean still tried to say a few words of persuasion, but when he realized no one was paying him any attention, he seemed to give up. Then Aiden sent me a private message, "Baby, how was my improvisation? Not bad, right?" I replied with a thumbs up. "By the way, your cousin is acting strange. Why is he so intent on making you admit this? He doesn't even feel guilty?" I find it strange too. It feels like he doesn't want us to get married. But it doesn't matter. Whatever he's trying to do, the police will find out. I was a little surprised. You really plan to call the police? I thought you were just bluffing to scare your cousin. My reputation has been damaged, and I nearly lost my wife. Isn't it natural for me to report it? Aiden replied confidently. Just then, one of Aiden's younger female cousins sent me a private message. Sister Emma, is this the woman you were talking about in the group chat? She's live streaming now and even using you as a case study. I clicked the link she sent, and sure enough, it was Ellie live streaming. She had already changed out of her professional suit and was wearing a body-hugging dress. On the left side of the live stream, she had the video of me confronting her at the sales office yesterday, playing on repeat. In a mocking tone, Ellie explained, "Sisters, you must pay attention. Improving yourself is the most important thing. Miss Lee here is the lowest kind of woman. She has no eye for choosing men. When her man cheats, she doesn't confront him, but comes after me, another woman, when it's clearly the fault of both parties. Why cling only to the woman? This world is still too kind to men. If Miss Lee were smarter, after discovering her man's cheating, she would either leave gracefully or silently improve herself until the man came crawling back. Her behavior, taking it out on another woman, makes her nothing but a shrew. Don't any of you learn from her?" Ellie's outrageous comments made the viewers in the livestream completely forget that she was the mistress who destroyed someone else's family. The comments were filled with praise, calling her a clear-headed independent heroine. I was so furious I almost laughed. I shared the livestream with Aiden. "Congratulations. Your girlfriend is now a teaching example." After watching, Aiden replied, "Baby, doesn't that livestream background look like the villa I have in the eastern suburbs?" I looked carefully and realized it was true. "Isn't that the villa you planned to sell because it was too far out?" "What's Ellie doing there?" "That's something you should ask Sean. I handed that villa over to him to deal with. Looks like he turned it into a love nest." Then he sent a mischievous emoji. "Baby, I just noticed on her profile that she's planning to live stream again tomorrow morning. Get ready to watch your man put on a show." I replied with a mischievous emoji too, ready to see Aiden's performance the next day. The next morning, Aiden got up early and didn't go to the company. He told me to stay home and just watch the live stream. Raising my brows, I noticed how he made himself look a little haggard, which amused me. After Aiden left, I opened Ellie's live stream room from yesterday. She was very punctual. When the time came, she started the stream, again playing the video of me from yesterday. So I had become her traffic magnet. But in order to watch Aiden's performance, I resisted the urge to report her. In the live stream, Ellie continued to lecture her fans in a condescending tone. "In the end, a woman's destiny depends on herself. Whether you climb up by relying on a man or by your own abilities, it's still your skill. Sisters, don't look down on yourselves. If you want to become an independent heroine like me, you can join my fan group. And you can also sign up for my private coaching classes." Chapter 8. I hadn't expected her to actually sell courses, so I went ahead and joined her fan group. Sure enough, there were admins selling classes. I added one and said I wanted to buy a course. The admin sent me a price list, with courses such as how to determine whether a man is a high-quality man, how to attract the attention of a high-quality man, and how to interact with a high-quality man. Just from the titles, the content was shockingly detailed. The admin kept pushing, "Miss, take a look. The price may seem high, but it's really useful. Look at our streamer. She used these very methods to snatch Miss Lee's fiancé. As long as you study well, won't good men be yours for the choosing?" I was just about to curse at the admin when suddenly Aiden's voice came through the live stream. "So you're the one slandering me, claiming you're pregnant with my child, and even trying to break me up with my girlfriend?" Hearing his voice, I quickly switched back to the live stream. Ellie was staring upward in confusion. "Who are you? You don't even know who I am, and yet you dare claim you're carrying my child?" Aiden's mocking voice rang out. "Who's carrying your child? Don't talk nonsense." Ellie's face stiffened for a moment before she quickly looked outside the camera. With sudden understanding, "You must be some actor Miss Lee hired to disrupt my live stream. How did you get in? Do you know this is trespassing?" she shouted at Aiden. The camera didn't show Aiden, but his amused voice was clear. "Oh, you know about trespassing? This is my house. You're the one trespassing here. I'm in my own home. I call that coming back. Just wait. I've already called the police. You spread lies about being pregnant with my child. I now suspect you either illegally obtained my sperm or drugged me, so I lost my memory of something happening. These are all crimes, not to mention trespassing and violating my girlfriend's portrait rights. The police will sort it all out with you." As Aiden listed charge after charge, The live stream viewers were stunned. What's going on? Who is this man? Ellie illegally obtained someone's sperm? This explosive? So whose child is in Ellie's belly then? Seeing the growing tide of suspicion in the comments, Ellie insisted to the off-screen presence, the child in my belly is Aiden's. This house was given to me by Aiden. Who the hell are you? Why are you here to cause trouble? I'm Aiden, and I didn't come here to cause trouble. I came to ask clearly, how exactly are you pregnant with my child? Why are you trying to destroy my relationship with my girlfriend? Why are you in my villa today? You're not leaving until you explain. As soon as Aiden finished, more voices could be heard in the background. The next second, police appeared in the live stream, ordering Ellie to come with them. On screen, Ellie's face was filled with disbelief. She protested, "Officer, there must be some mistake. I don't even know this man. He just suddenly showed up in my home. This is Mr. Aiden's property. Him being here is normal. Right now, he's accusing you of trespassing." And just like that, Ellie was escorted out of the live stream in front of everyone. Her fans were terrified, while the onlookers who came for the drama were thoroughly entertained. Chapter 9. At this moment, Aiden also sent me an emoji asking for praise, so, was that exciting enough? I gave him another thumbs up. What's happening now? We're going to the police station, waiting for this woman to confess everything. You just rest at home and wait for updates. Aiden replied. That reassured me, and I lay back down. But soon after, someone had already recorded what happened in the live stream and sent it to some gossip accounts. The news of Ellie being taken away by the police right in the middle of a stream went viral. Without even realizing it, Ellie had become truly famous. At the same time, all her outrageous remarks were dug up, shocking netizens. So mistresses are rebranding themselves like this now? She keeps saying cheating is a two-person mistake, telling the victim to only blame the man, while she happily enjoys the benefits herself. She even tries to build an independent heroine image out of this. Who actually admires people like her? The woman in the surveillance video is so pitiful. Not only was her boyfriend unfaithful, but she was mocked and used as a teaching tool by this woman. Wait, hold on. It looks like her boyfriend didn't actually cheat. Wasn't it the same guy who called the police and got the streamer arrested? What's going on here? I thought it was the usual jerk and mistress drama, but now the jerk's gone? Then whose child is the mistress carrying? For a while, Ellie's scandal was all over the internet, with people arguing and speculating. Many were waiting eagerly for the outcome. Of course, as the person involved, I was also very eager to know. But, contrary to my expectations, Aiden didn't return quickly. I grew worried, so I drove to the police station where he had reported the case. There, I found not only Aiden's parents but also Sean, along with Sean's parents. When they saw me, Aiden's parents awkwardly pulled me aside to sit down, apologizing as they spoke. Emma, our family has dragged you into this mess, but Aiden is innocent. He hasn't done anything wrong to you. Please don't break up with him. The two elders kept explaining, which made me feel a little guilty. Uncle, Auntie, I know. Don't worry, we won't break up. I reassured them softly. On the other side, Aiden, with a dark face, was speaking coldly to his uncle and aunt. He slandered me, spread lies, tried to ruin my marriage, and destroy my lifelong happiness. I will never sign a letter of forgiveness. And his uncle and aunt were none other than Sean's parents. The two looked anxious, glancing from Aiden to his parents, brother, sister-in-law. Please persuade Aiden. After all, Sean only went astray because of what you said back then. If it weren't for those words you spoke years ago, how would Sean have taken the wrong path? You have to take responsibility for him. Sean's father slapped his thigh as he spoke. Hearing this, Aiden's parents looked extremely upset. His father opened his mouth as if to say something but couldn't get any words out. It was Aiden who stood in front of his parents, coldly saying, Uncle, Auntie, stop troubling my mom and dad. It's useless for anyone to persuade me. Sean made a mistake, and he has to take responsibility. And all he'll face is just a few days of detention. There's no need for you to protect him like this. But Sean's mother shook her head through tears. But that will give Sean a criminal record. How can he live with that? It will affect his children in the future. Aiden only sneered in response. That's his own doing. I will never agree to mediation. Instead of making a scene with me, You'd better spend your energy properly teaching your precious son. Chapter 10. At this moment, Sean came out from another mediation room, with Ellie following behind. Sean's face was dark when he saw me and Aiden. His eyes were filled with hatred. Aiden, are you happy now? Seeing me get caught, does that make you feel good? Just moderately happy. If you hadn't done wrong, you wouldn't have been caught, Aiden said coldly. That completely enraged Sean. Do you look down on me? I hate you the most for this. Weren't you once a spoiled rich kid too? Why did you suddenly change just to chase after a woman? Now the whole family praises you. But back then your parents said you were useless. The family business was supposed to be mine. If you were useless, why didn't you stay useless your whole life? Why did you change just for Emma? Why give me hope and then take it away? I'm going to make you lose everything and drag you back into the mud. Sean shouted hysterically. The police hurried forward to restrain him and prepared to take him away. His parents, distressed, tried to stop them, but the officers blocked them. In the end, Sean was cursing Aiden and his parents as the police dragged him out. Ellie, because of her pregnancy, wasn't detained but was punished nonetheless. The police also ordered her to publicly apologize to me. She glared at me viciously. Why should a woman like you get a good man? You think just because I mistook your boyfriend this time that he's problem-free? I'm telling you, women like you who only depend on men will be abandoned sooner or later. Her words stunned me. I was about to argue back when she suddenly changed her expression and looked at Aiden. Handsome. The child in my belly should have been yours. When Emma came to me to buy a house, I thought right away, how could a woman like her deserve such a rich husband? I originally intended to seduce you, but who would have thought it was your cousin who came with her? Your cousin tricked me, so you should take responsibility for him. Ellie's voice turned seductive as she tried to move closer to Aiden. Aiden instantly stepped back a large distance. Don't you dare touch me. You never even met me, and yet you dared to spread lies that you were pregnant with my child. If you touch me now, it'll be even worse. Ellie's expression froze. So you care about your girlfriend that much? Aren't you worried she'll betray you? She bought the house with Sean accompanying her. Don't you think there's something suspicious between them? Hearing this, I wanted nothing more than to slap her. It was as if she'd die if she didn't slander someone. Her mouth never stopped spewing lies. But I didn't need to do anything. The police stepped in. Ellie, if you continue to spread lies, even though we won't detain you during your pregnancy, other punishments will still apply. Ellie fell silent at that. Even after leaving the police station, I felt dizzy. I knew Sean had pretended to be Aiden to trick Ellie, but I couldn't understand why he ended up getting arrested. Chapter 11. When we got home, I couldn't help but ask Aiden about it. Aiden sighed before finally telling me the whole story. It turned out that when Aiden was younger, he had also gone through a rebellious phase, refusing to study properly, constantly fighting and getting into trouble. His parents couldn't control him and almost sent him to a boarding school. At that time, exhausted from trying to manage Aiden, his parents publicly said that if he continued to be such a spoiled rich kid and kept going astray, they would hand the entire family business over to Sean instead. Sean's whole family remembered those words, especially Sean himself, who became convinced that Aiden's family business would eventually be his. But when Aiden was in high school, he met me. He fell in love with me at first sight. But because I came from a privileged family, had excellent grades, and was considered far too outstanding, he didn't dare confess to me directly. In order to keep up with me, he abandoned all his bad habits and focused on studying. He got into the same university as me and, after reinventing himself, appeared before me with a completely new image to pursue me. This transformation made Aiden's parents overjoyed, and they always liked me ever since. But Aiden's change crushed all of Sean's long-held expectations, which made him resentful of Aiden's transformation. And he resented me even more for being the one who inspired Aiden to change, hence his consistently hostile attitude toward me. So this time, when Aiden arranged for him to accompany me in buying a house, Sean met Ellie. Since Ellie mistakenly assumed he was my fiancé, he decided to play along, letting her believe she had stolen me away from my own fiancé. He deliberately encouraged Ellie to provoke me, using me as the target of her attacks, all in the hope of making me break off my engagement with Aiden, because he believed that once I left Aiden, Aiden would revert back to being the spoiled rich kid he used to be. That way, Sean could regain his chance of inheriting Aiden's family company. As for Ellie, Her goal was never just to ruin someone else's family. She wanted to use my and Aiden's situation as a case study to draw more attention, building up her image as an independent heroine in order to attract fans and sell her courses. But her so-called courses were judged to be against public morals and were punished as well. In short, the two of them used each other, but in the end, they both suffered the consequences. After hearing Aiden's explanation, I couldn't help but sigh with relief. Thank goodness I wasn't the weak little woman Ellie painted me as, otherwise I might have been dragged into her trap. After all, I'm the little girl who grew up under the favorable conditions created by my parents. 2 days later, although Ellie was extremely reluctant, under the urging of me and my lawyer, she posted a public apology statement to me on her social media account. But the statement only stayed up for 1 day before disappearing, because her account was banned by the platform for violating public morals. Her fans also started demanding refunds. It was said that if she refused to return their money, she would be sued for fraud. Ellie's income had never been high, and she hadn't gotten much money out of Sean either. Now she had to pay everything back. Her side hustle of selling courses through social media collapsed, and she had already quit her job. It seemed her future life would be anything but easy, but none of that had anything to do with me anymore. Meanwhile, Sean's household was also in turmoil. When it came out that Sean had cheated, and not only that, but cheated while impersonating his cousin, his wife immediately filed for divorce and terminated her 3-month pregnancy. By the time Sean's parents found out, the child was already gone. They were devastated, crying and wailing in grief. But the woman ignored them, packed up her things, returned to her parents' home, and notified Sean that once he was released from detention, they would divorce. A once whole family was destroyed just like that. When Aiden's parents told him the news, Aiden only sneered, "Serves him right. I worked so hard to win my wife, and he tried to scare you away from me? He should be thankful that the law exists. Otherwise I would have ended him myself." Truly, he still carried a bit of that gangster aura, like he still had the shadow of the spoiled rich kid he once was.